Tottenham say they believe in youth, but why are we not seeing it happen? We have such a good youth structure at Tottenham. Our youth system is one of the best in Europe. We have some talented players, but why don't we see it happen enough? That's a big, interesting question. Um, is it because managers are too afraid to put youth in because their job's at risk? Are they going for European football? Spurs in the past been going for European football and probably found too much of a pressure environment to put them in. At the moment, we're trying to stay in this league, so maybe that's the reason why we're not seeing youth as much. Can they handle the pressure? But what I believe in, youth have no fear. They'll play without any fear. They'll really take the game to teams. They'll fight for the badge. And I believe putting youth in, especially in the predicament we are in, might actually help us more than hinder us. A lot of the players at the football club, I start to wonder, do they really actually care? They're just getting their paycheck and then they're running off into the sunset. If we go down, are they really, they're not going to stick around. A lot of them do not care. But the youth players are Tottenham fans. They believe in the club. They'll fight for the club. They'll give everything for the badge. We need to keep these youth players, but you need to give them more opportunities. We don't want to hinder their performances, hinder their development really, and then them end up having enough and going to sign for other clubs because we will regret that. Our last very good youth academy player that come out is Harry Kane. Now he wasn't a finished article when he was a kid. He had a few loan spells, went to different clubs. Some of those loan spells weren't very successful, but he built his game up and has been a fantastic player. He had to leave the club because the club wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't matching his ambition. He had to leave to join a bigger club, and that's a shame, really. That's a shame because I believe Spurs are a big club. Bayern Munich, I'm calling, it's probably hard to turn down, but they are in the German league, and the Premier League is much better league. Unfortunately, Spurs are not weren't looking to win the Premier League, and definitely not now. But we need to give these kids more of an opportunity. There's some really good youngsters in there, like Williams, Barnett, and Byfield, we'll see come on for Spurs this season. Some talented youngsters. There's also a few out on loan who have done it on loan who are looking really good. There's some players who haven't quite done it out on loan, but you're going to get that with all clubs. You're going to get certain players do it, do really well. Other players don't. But why are we? The question is, why are we not? Why are we not given these opportunities? Are we a club, that want to give youth a chance, or are we faking that? Are we not? Are we not that type of club anymore? We've done it in the past. Pochettino was a prime example. Gave these kids an opportunity, brought quite a few through, and they did really well for Spurs. But since then, we've had some managers like win now managers who have not given youth a chance. I thought Thomas Frank would be that man to give youth a chance. He gave Byfield a chance and put some kids on the bench, but that was because of injury. We need to see these kids more. So I suggest that the club give them an opportunity. Maybe they won't now because we're going towards relegation and we need to get out of this situation. But we don't really have a choice. If we're putting them on the bench, why not give them an opportunity? We know that they will fight for the club. They'll fight for the manager, and they'll really, they'll love the club. They'll fight for the cause, and they'll do everything they can to help Spurs get out of it. And I believe some of these youngsters are good enough. I've seen them play, for under 21s and things like that, and they look really good. So the question is, do we need to give youth more of a chance? What is the issue with the youth system, between connection between the youth and the first team? We need to, do we need to look at ourselves and answer why we're not, why they're not coming through enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe youth is the way to go? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Leave me a like and subscribe for more daily Spurs content, but let's have a debate. We need to get to the bottom of this. Also, come on, you Spurs.